Please remain seated.
Hey everyone, welcome back to 40 Pints, where we drink like the booze is free. Today we got Connor Sterphone here from Garnish, and we're going to chat a little bit about what he's created. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. We got some Elijah Craig. I hope you're not offended by that.
Not at all.
Awesome. Salute. That's how we usually start.
It's good with me.
So tell us a little bit about Garnish.
So we are a food manufacturer at the base, but we create sustainable food products, health-based food products. We are a layer of things, but I would say that's our current position. Yeah.
So how did this all get started? Tell me the quick history of this.
Quick history, started during, right before the pandemic. I actually wasn't even a part of the team at that time. I was going to be one of the chefs, a part of the creation of Garnish, which was in-home private chef kind of catering vibes. Pandemic kind of shifted everything, and that kind of transitioned. And just through learning the business of being a food manufacturer, we landed on our newest product, which is Seed Oat butter.
Awesome. And I saw that you guys got on the Today Show recently.
Yeah.
So how'd you land that one?
That was just relationships, honestly. I've always felt very strong about, connecting with people. And so for me, I go pretty much door to door was how I started for selling our product with like wholesaling. So went to coffee shops and boutiques and small grocery stores. And one of them was one in New York City, the Goods Mart.
Okay.
She was... Rachel, I didn't get to meet her in person at first, but I just kind of kept a really good relationship with all of my people. And when we launched this, she immediately came back to me and she was like, hey, we're going to be on the Today Show doing a segment about healthy snack alternatives. So, yeah.
And how'd that do for you?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
We did over 1,000 units in like 2 days.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So
we weren't prepared for it either.
The traditional PR. Some people say it's dead. Apparently, it's not. Huh?
It's not, and you wouldn't think, right? It's hard to say because some stuff works, some stuff doesn't.
Yep.
You don't know if your specific health food product that's a little bit more expensive maybe is gonna push to that audience. You just have no idea. So
here you are, co-owner of Garnish, and now, and where did you start? What was your first job?
I was a chef.
Yeah.
Well, I was a dishwasher first.
Yeah, I was a dishwasher. I used to wash dishes at a nursing home. And they had, the nice thing is about this nursing home is they had the partition trays. So when you would spray it, it would shoot back in your face. It's like, you put the spoon underneath the faucet.
Yep.
That's what the partition trays were like.
I mean, you never get away from that, honestly, no matter what.
Yeah, I know, it's in
shapes,
your hair,
yeah. You're always going to get sprayed. Mm-hmm. So I still wash dishes to this day, honestly. So, but... Yeah, I started as a dishwasher in a small restaurant in New Jersey, where I was raised, and I was 16 or so, whatever the legal working age was. I was getting a job, and one of the chefs walked off the line one day, and I was like, I want to cook. And they're like, okay.
Nice.
Put me on the line and started cooking, and I've been cooking ever since.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's some ambition for you. I love it. So, so one thing that you had mentioned was overnight oats. What's that about?
So that's a product that we still currently sell.
Okay.
It's a cold prepared food product, perishable.
So that means it needs to be refrigerated?
Refrigerated, yeah. So a lot trickier of a space to work in, which is something that we honestly have just been learning as we go. That was our first Garnish product, was the overnight oats. We layer them, we put a lot of flavor into them, a lot of love goes into that product, and between the price point and the way the world is changing, and so it was really, really nice during the pandemic, right? We were delivering to people that we knew, friends and family, and then the vision was sell them online, right? Get to a grocery store and keep moving forward. Right. And so for now we're looking at Seed Oat, but we are looking at kind of
on the shelf
6 months shelf stable.
And then it kind of is like a peanut butter type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. And then it's alternative, obviously, and it looks like it's vegan and gluten free, so that's pretty cool. How did you create this one?
Honestly, it was sustainability at the base. We were already working with oats, with the overnight oats.
Makes sense.
And so it was classic kind of chef mindset of use what you have in house.
Yep.
And really there was there's still a growing need for products that are allergen friendly, right?
Yeah.
So we found that with overnight oats. We found a lot of things out with the overnight oats, and then that kind of worked into this newer product.
So what's the like methodology of coming up with like the flavors and whatnot? Do you just literally cook several batches and keep tasting them? Is that how you do it?
Yeah, so with this, it was tricky because we're working with seeds, not nuts. And all of these seeds, we use super seeds, right? So it's specific to the health benefit, not to the flavor.
Gotcha.
Versus where like you get an almond butter or peanut butter, right? It has its natural flavors that
Right.
people already love. So you kind of just leave it as is, right? We also we add a little bit of maple in ours, but kind of the focus of being healthy and not adding too much sugar, there's not a lot you can do. And so we just kind of wanted to work with the natural flavors that were already there. The chia seeds kind of give this very earthy, natural, fruity flavors. Same thing with the hemp seeds. And oats are kind of bland right across the board. So you can kind of manipulate it however you want. For this, it was just a focus of how can we keep it simple, right?
Yeah.
Simple, elegant, clean. You didn't want somebody to taste it and think it was too sweet.
Yeah.
Kind of takes away from what it's got already. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I could only imagine what it takes to come up with a product. I know that here is coming up with services. It's always interesting what the value we are providing versus the efficiency that's going to be created, compared to of course, the profit margins that you require, right, as a business. Yeah. So I could only imagine what it's like with a product that you now have to put on the shelves. And I guess that kind of is a nice segue to the next question was, as entrepreneurs, as people that help a business grow and change and evolve to meet their customers' needs, there's always a lot of challenges. You have any stories about your biggest challenge that you face?
Still to date, one of our biggest challenges is marketing. Honestly, just as a small business, right? You're fighting the huge companies or the money,
I can
right?
imagine, yeah.
We quote unquote are bootstrapping everything.
Yeah.
So we have grown, and from what we've made, we continue to grow off of it. Yeah. So, I mean, nothing like too specific other than just really learning as we go that, being on social media and having a face behind the brand and all the things that, I'm a chef. I don't mind being behind the doors, right?
Yeah.
I'm used to it. So I love making and communicating with people, but more like this and less through a phone. So, I mean, the marketing and the ad space and all that stuff has been a huge hurdle, and just how much money you're putting in and how much should you
What's
put in.
What's the ROI on it? Yeah.
Where does it actually take you, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of been for us our biggest hurdle, and it's coming, more into the business now for us with this newer product.
Well, so there's always a critical mass period, but before the critical mass period is the traumatic period. And that's what I experienced anyway. I always say the first 5 years of being in business is traumatic.
Yep.
It's like every day, like it's a roller coaster. Some days are just amazing, and some days you're like, what the hell did I do?
Yeah.
And then some days you're reinventing yourself, and some days you're going back to what you used to be. So it's
nice to hear.
Yeah. I mean, it really
We're not
is.
at 5 years yet.
Yeah.
But
Well, and some people have a little bit more accelerated. That just was the number for me. Was the first 5 years, or just like.
Yeah.
And then after 5 years, I was like, okay, this is how the business plan could work. This is the value I bring to my customers. This is where we can go with it. But for years, I was trying different things. So, but then there's the critical mass phase where like you get into this where people start to know who you are. And then that kind of snowballs with referrals. And with you, it'd be like testimonials like, hey, I mean, the Today Show is a pretty big one of those kind of critical mass moments where it could be hopefully the snowball for you, where it's like the next order, right? So I know you're not supposed to knock on the table, but we'll do this for you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
So speaking of, what's the future look like for you guys? What do you have some insight for us on what it looks like next?
We really want to be a brand that everybody knows, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes, like you said, the first 5 years, and for us, it's like you're still finding yourself, you're kind of narrowing the focus, and it's that idea of just being either a known brand, right, where people know that you exist. I mean, realistically, we want to be in grocery stores. That's the spot.
Yeah.
I don't have a price point to it. I don't have I I think being on the Today Show was one of those things for us where it set this marker of, hey, we can be out there. People enjoy the product, and it is something that's important to people. It's important to us. But yeah, I think like being on a grocery store shelf just kind of, it hits that marker for us where you're like, okay, I don't care how much they're buying or what they're buying it for, but it legitimizes it, right? Because we can sell online all day, and that's great, but you kind of pushing sales to your online store is really people who know about you or have already seen you someplace else. So the grocery store is...
Yeah, it's also like self-qualifying too, right? You're like, okay, well, it's good enough to be on the shelf. At least I know that we
got to have
here.
some of those.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, we got in here. So you've taken an all-organic approach to this?
Yeah. The only thing is the salt that's not organic, but you can't get that anyways. So
how's that? So I guess it's not just organic, but of course it is as well. How's the pressure of your cost of goods on your margins? I know that everyone's kind of struggling, getting, product. How has that been with you guys?
It's really tough.
Yeah.
I, even kind of back to the recipe building, didn't really touch on it, but that goes straight into like, well, you want it to taste good. You want it to be good. You want it to be healthy. All of those things are important. And then you also have margin.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're like, okay, well, can I take away a fraction of this one ingredient because it's so expensive and replace it with this, or does it change the consistency?
Right. Yep. Especially when you're selling 10,000 pieces, right? Or 100,000 pieces or 1,000,000 pieces. Yeah.
Huge difference.
A huge difference in margins.
So, I mean, for us, it's definitely been difficult, but that's the focus, right? I mean, it can't change. It's very important to us. We focus on the planet. We focus on, sustainable farming and practices. So for us, like every relationship we make with where we get our ingredients from is very important. We definitely focus on the organic, and if you tried to fade for price, it's possible, but it definitely takes away from who we are.
Well, I mean, it takes away from who you are, but it also takes away from what the consumer wants too.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean,
you can't run from that.
I'm married to a beautiful woman that will only buy organic, and you should see her grocery bills.
I do the same.
Right. So, and I like it. I mean, it's important to me and to her because we believe that like a pesticide free and like also growth hormone free type of product and non-GMO is what we want to consume. Right. So I think that's important to us. If you stray from that as a brand, you have a completely different consumer, right?
Yeah.
So it's important. How did you? How was the sourcing of all these products? How does that go? That has to be, finding very unique, ingredients. Is that as easy or as hard as we think it is?
From my background, definitely difficult because I'm used to food services that Baldor, Cisco, whatever, right? Yeah. And you're like, okay, I got everything I need from my restaurant from these places. That's what you're taught. That's what you learn and you see. And so for this, it was scouring the internet. It was like, and most people might not think that, but I mean, it was just looking everything in bulk. And then I try to stay away from the companies that are very well known, and I kind of dive deeper. So for our hemp seeds and our chia seeds is a small company out in Colorado. They source for a lot of people, but because of their niche, it's nut-free and gluten-free facilities, and so all of that fits our needs. But it takes a long time. I mean, I could spend days and days and days just on one ingredient.
Do you have sellers of products sometimes get reps, and they have a rep company who takes a percentage margin, right? And I'd imagine that when we air this, people that have a consumer product, they're gonna, whether it's an edible or not, are gonna wonder how you get it to the shelves, right? So some of them get reps, some sell directly like you are currently, or maybe not currently, but at least in the beginning, door to door. Do you have a in between, like a rep company or anything like that, or have you looked into that yet?
Yeah, so we went in the angle of everything we can do on our own, right, without losing a percentage is the best way for us, at least for starting. So obviously we reach out directly to stores that we want to be in, or that we're interested in. Aside from that, we work with a company called Range Me, and Range Me is a platform for anywhere from small to medium to large businesses that can put their products out there for anywhere from small, medium to large buyers to come and find you. Nice. You can also submit to places like Whole Foods, let's say, right?
Yep.
Your product, all your information, they have pretty vigorous process to being like a verified product.
Sure.
But that is a flat rate fee for the year,
Oh, that's
right?
cool. It's called Range Me?
Range Me.
Very cool.
So there's that. And then we also use like any other small business wholesale accounts like Faire.com, Faire. And they're kind of like a niche wholesale location where it's like from candles to food products. And we've seen some success on there as well. And that's like they just take a commission.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we boost the pricing up where necessary.
Yeah.
Because you have to.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course. Yeah. Well,
the commissions are.
yeah, margin's the name of the game,
matter.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
If we worked with a broker though, like for like getting to a grocery store,
yeah.
we wouldn't be able to move the margin really.
Yeah.
Like it would just be whatever they take, and
It
they'd
is.
probably lose it.
Yeah.
Because the grocery store is not gonna. Yeah.
Right. They almost dictate to you, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
If I had a product that I'm trying to market and you were sitting in front of me and I hadn't really launched it yet, what would you tell me? What would be kind of like one of the 2 or 3 things that you would tell me to look out for? Going through this whole process and making the mistakes, what would you save some people time on?
Do everything 100% the first time. So from UPC codes to your labels to whatever you want your ingredients to be to testing, like we have our product tested for a 6-month shelf life, right? So we paid thousands of dollars to say in an expedited time frame, they told us in 8 weeks that it's got a 6-month shelf life. And then they also do a 6 to 7 month like pure, like natural shelf life test.
Right.
Where they're so all of those things, like just by having that, we were able to put the product out there confidently.
Right. Yeah.
Without the concern of pulling the product off the shelf or,
Right.
or taking away from different small shops. Right.
Yep.
And I mean, I think at the end of the day, what you spend is well worth it compared to the stress and the anxiety of saying, did I say that this product could do something that it can't do?
Yeah.
Or am I saying that it's, gluten-free and it's not gluten-free? So all of those things I think between the UPC codes, your ingredient and nutritional facts on your panels, and getting your product tested where necessary are kind of like the biggest steps where we took a lot of time on our first product that we created, the overnight oats, to do those little by little.
Yep.
And on this one, it was like we knew what to do.
Yeah.
The second we started.
Yeah, I like that. What's the difference between direct to consumer, like internet sales, and the wholesale? What do you like about one versus the other? Or do you prefer one
Margin?
over the other? Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think the direct to consumer, with the control, obviously, of what you're charging for shipping, how much you're charging for shipping.
Yeah.
Knowing that if somebody's coming to my website, they're most likely interested in the product. Mm-hmm. So there's already a level skipped, right? That you can skip over and say, okay, they're interested already. They came to us for a reason. They'll probably pay what we're asking for them to pay.
Yep.
Where wholesale, you don't even know how they're feeling.
Yeah.
Like you don't really necessarily get a feedback from a small grocery store in New York City that says, well, we're not buying your product because of XYZ. Right. It's just they ignore you or they don't say anything.
Right.
And so you kind of have to go and backtrack and peel all these layers back and say, well, was it pricing? Is it because we're charging for shipping, or should we charge for shipping so that the product price looks better? So there's a lot more layers to the wholesale, but you do create great relationships, as well as, opportunities like the Today Show for us, where if we didn't do what we did to get into those stores, that would have never happened.
Yeah.
Hopefully it would have happened, but in probably a couple years from now, to be honest.
And then speaking of the PR, the traditional PR versus like kind of new age, which is like influencers, have you gone that route yet? And any recommendations or, experience shares for the people listening?
We use a company called Aspire.
Yep.
With working with them, again, it's kind of like Range Me, where you flat rate fee for the year. If you want, you could do it monthly, but you get better rates. And you have access to connecting with anybody who's on Instagram or on TikTok.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it's a private or not private thing, but essentially what we can do is if I'm scrolling through my account and I find 10 people that I love their feeds, I love their posts and everything, I can go straight on Aspire and plug them in and request for them to be a part of like a campaign we want to do.
Yep.
That has been huge for us.
Has been good, yeah.
Yeah, we send free product out for essentially for for anything.
Yep.
We just say, we trust that you're a professional, and at the minimum, if you throw it up on your story on Instagram, great. If you want to do more, you can do more.
Yeah.
And that's just because we have a very strict guideline of who we want to work with.
Yep.
But most people charge astronomical fees to put up a post for you.
Right.
We just kind of work off of hey, we're a small business.
Right.
We're looking to grow. If you're not interested in the product, it's fine, but we want natural reactions. We want a natural post. And even though we know you're getting a free $13 jar for it,
right.
It's much better for it to be in that relationship for us, at least for now.
Yeah.
But we can also, we're working on a cooking competition campaign where we could reach out and get, as many people as we want to hopefully join for a grand prize. And,
That's cool.
And so there's so many things that it's super flexible,
Yeah.
and it gives you a lot of analytics,
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
engagement rates
Yep.
all the way to authenticity, which
Yep.
is huge nowadays because you have no idea if somebody's 100,000 followers is really 100,000.
Well, and Facebook or Meta just launched the paid authenticity just in the last couple of days. It's $12 a month to say that it's definitely you, which is interesting to me. So, and we'll see how many people actually subscribe. They think 12 million by the end of the year will subscribe. Or 12 million by the end of the year, $12 a month, $144 million a month. But to them, that's peanuts anyway.
Yeah.
So, or, seeds and oats.
We'll see, yeah.
So,
That's very good.
Well, cheers. We'll have a
Cheers.
quick drink, and then I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Yeah, hit me.
Okay, so favorite product you produce?
Seed Oat butter.
And outside, or maybe not, of your product, what's your favorite thing to cook? Period.
Tacos.
Wow. Chicken or beef?
I'm carnitas guy. Yeah.
I don't even know. what that means.
Pork.
Yeah.
I'm much more authentic. To
Wow,
it. Yeah.
very cool.
I'm white, but
Love it. And we could tell. What is what is the top of your bucket list? What is at the top of your bucket list?
enjoy life.
Love it. If you could choose one superpower, what would it be and why?
Put my product on a grocery store shelf.
I mean, that's cool. I like it.
Can it be a superhero
Yeah, I
about?
mean, yeah, I think so, yeah.
Like I could just
Yeah,
pick
like
products
super
and
salesman.
be like, this product deserves to be on a grocery
Yeah,
store
there
shelf.
you go. Yeah, perfect.
I'll pick mine first, but
Let's hope that you believed in Santa at one point. How did you find out about Santa wasn't real?
probably a large group of people at school constantly saying
Santa's not real?
yeah. Like little by little, like it grew, but yeah, eventually it clicked, right?
Air guitar or air drums?
Air guitar.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If you could have coffee with any person, who would it be? I like that one. Who would you have coffee with?
I don't know.
I'd have a bourbon with Clint Eastwood,
Ooh, that would be cool.
right?
Yeah.
And I'd smoke some hand rolled cigar or some shit, I'd get a
that.
cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Jason Bateman or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Coffee?
Yeah, why not? I mean, anything. Bourbon. I prefer bourbon because if there was some bourbon in the coffee,
Yeah,
me and
yeah.
Jason Bateman would have a good time.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. It's a funny dude too.
Yeah.
Morning person or night person?
Both.
Wow, just going all
Don't have a choice.
around the clock right now, right?
I don't like either. But
yeah. Describe yourself in one word.
Hardworking.
That's two. And who is your? I think so. Maybe
I didn't want to do that. I don't like that. I hate doing
It's
that.
just,
but go ahead.
I had a drink, and this is all I do is sarcastic from there on. So, who was your biggest inspiration?
I had a chef at school, Chef Matisic. The guy just did everything, from traveling to cooking to just nonstop, and maybe not specifically to what I'm doing now, but in beginning stages, it was just kind of like I want to be this guy, and then he finished his career teaching at a cooking school. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a perfect way to end it, dude. I really appreciate you coming on. Really cool story. Really wish you a lot of luck with everything.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You got it, man.